Hi guys, this is Marissa from Busy Bees in Springfield. As some of you may know, we've been putting together some to-go kits, and recently we just released an adult canvas to-go kit. This kit does not include instructions. It's only going to include the canvas, brushes, and paint. Now, because of this, we decided to put together some tutorials for you, one for each canvas design, so you can follow along with me as I paint each canvas. We thought that this might help you so that you can relax, have fun, and not stress too much about trying to make it look good. So you can follow along with me, or you can just do your own thing and get creative. You'll notice that I've sped up at parts during the video just for the sake of time, so you don't have to watch a 3-hour long video. So hopefully it helps you. You can pause and hit play whenever you're ready to come back. Otherwise, we're going to get started. And before we do, we just want to give a thank you to you guys for your purchase, for supporting Busy Bees through this time. So we wanted to give back a little by giving you guys this free tutorial. So hopefully it helps and we have some fun. We're going to get started. Okay, so what you're going to need is a napkin or paper towel of some sort, whatever you have at home. You are going to have 2 brushes that we've given you. There'll be something similar to this. You'll have one big one and one smaller one. And you'll have these little paint pods that we've given you with your colors in it. So this paint does stain your clothes, so hopefully you're not wearing anything that you mind messing up. Also, it's a good idea to have a paper plate or a plate of some sort if you want to do any color mixing on it. But the first thing we're going to do is we're going to start with the sky, which is the light blue color that you have. And you're going to use the biggest brush that we gave you. You don't have to wet it or anything. You can just dip it straight into the paint. So we're just going to dip it straight into the little paint pod that you have. And we're going to start by painting the sky. And you want to paint around the flowers and the stems. It's also a good idea to paint your edges. You don't have to, but I always recommend it, especially if you're going to hang this or gift it, because it looks better if you're not going to frame it, if you're just going to hang it on the wall. That way you don't see where your messy paint lines stopped. So take your time when you're going to paint around the flowers and the stems. Don't rush through it. I'm sure we all have a lot of time on our hands these days, so take your time. And as you get into here where there's bits of the sky, if you feel more comfortable switching over to the smaller brush, please do so. Okay. So you shouldn't need a second coat of this, but if for some reason you missed any spots, you can go ahead now and just really quick grab those. Okay, so what you're going to do next is you're going to rinse your brushes out. We're gonna stick with the small brush for right now, and you're gonna dry it off. I'm gonna put the cat back on my blue. I'm not gonna need that for the moment. And I'm gonna get the green. So we're gonna do the flowers, stems, and leaves next. And you're just gonna dip directly in the paint pot like we did before. Directly in. And take your time with this. Don't rush through. If there's areas in here where the blue is still wet, then just wait a little longer until it's drier to start painting so you don't blend it in accidentally. Again, I'm rushing a little bit just so the video is not too long, but ideally you want to take your time. You want to make sure each part is dry before you move on. So I'm going to start with this flower over here, and I'm going to start with the stem. Just take your time. Sorry, that's my phone. Now the green paint is a little transparent, so we'll have to go back and do a second coat. That's okay. So just try to paint it once, don't keep going over because it'll just start taking the paint off. You gotta wait for it to dry to add a second coat. And if for some reason you mess up, not to worry, you can just make your stem or leaf a little wider to even it out. So small brush and green paint pod and one coat of green right now. May look a little streaky on the leaves, but that's okay. We'll be adding a second coat to fix that later on. Okay. Now, if you haven't rushed through this, then the first leaf you started with should kind of be a little dry enough for us to add a second coat. So you can go ahead and do that. If it's not tacky, then just wait a little longer before doing this part. Okay, so you're gonna want to rinse that little brush out. We're still gonna continue with that for now. So rinse it out real good, make sure there's no green on it. And dry it off real good. Still using the same napkin, trying to preserve the life of napkins and paper towels in my house, as I'm sure you are too. Your mixing plate is going to come in handy now. Don't mind the paint that I already have on there. That was from the previous video, trying to save on that. And you're going to take the little container of white that you have and whatever color you have for your tulip, whatever color that might be, and you're just going to take a little bit of each. You're going to take a scoop of white, so I'm just dipping directly into my pod. it on my plate. And then you're going to do the same thing with the pink. You're going to take a scoop right from the pod, put it on your plate, and then you are going to mix it up until you have a nice lighter shade of that color. Okay? And you're going to start by painting your tulips that light pale shade. And if you run out, just mix a little more. Oh, I messed up a little bit. If you do anything like that, it's okay. You can just cover it up with the blue later on, once it dries. Again, take your time with this. I'm rushing a little bit, but this is for you to have fun and relax. So enjoy it. Take your time. If you're following the video, you can always pause and come back later. Okay, that's that step. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to rinse that brush and dry it off real good. And now we're just going to dip it directly into the white, just a tiny bit. And I'm going to create some highlights on my flowers. So watch me first. I'm just picking an edge of the flower petal, and staying on that one side. Just adding a little bit of light to make it a little more three-dimensional. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and do that to another petal over here. Again, picking one side of the petal and just dragging it down. Okay, so obviously I did the same side for each petal. So make sure you do the same. I'm going to stick with the same pattern up here and choose the right side of each petal. Again, you're just using the faintest amount of white. If it starts blending in with your pink, then leave it. That's a good thing. You want it to blend. Notice how I'm also wiping off my brush each time I go in to the paint pot so that you don't mix any pink paint into the white. So the next thing you're gonna do is you're just gonna go directly into the paint pot of your tulip color. And we're gonna add a little more pigment to parts of the tulip at the bottom. So I'm gonna start from the stem and just kind of fan up a little bit. There's not really a method to this other than that. So notice how each stroke I'm starting from the bottom where that stem is and fanning up. And if you have some of that mixture left over on your plate, you can add that as well so that it blends even more. Notice how with that color I'm starting upwards and dragging it down into the darker color. And you can go up as high as you want or stay close to the bottom, it's up to you. I'm going to move on to the next one. Again, starting right where the stem is and then just fanning up. And you can go back in with that lighter mixture if you still have it. And again, you're going to drag it down, back and forth into that darker color. Same thing, starting from the bottom of the stem and fanning out. And for this one, I'm going to add a little bit darker in the center so it looks like these petals are coming down further, like the flowers opening up. Okay, so now I'm going to rinse that brush out. I'm actually going to go back to the bigger brush. So make sure that it's nice and clean. And now I'm going to use some of the white and some of the blue again to add some clouds in the sky. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to dip my brush directly in the blue, and I'm just going to paint some areas in the sky where I want my clouds blue first to make it wet so that the white then blends in with the blue. So after I've done that, I'm going to wipe my brush off, and I'm going to get some white, and I'm going to go right in that same area that I just painted light blue. And see how nicely that blends? And you're just going to repeat that step around the sky wherever you want some clouds to be. We're going to keep these nice and loose so they're not necessarily a cloud shape and more just light areas in the sky. Now I'm going in with the white and directly over where I just painted blue. Okay, so now that you have wispy clouds everywhere, we're just going to do one last thing to the leaves and the stems. Going to get your green back out and switch back to the little brush. And on your mixing plate, you're going to take a scoop of the green, rinse your brush out, dry it off, and then take a little bit of the white and then you're going to mix them together to create a light pastel green. And we're just going to use this to create a couple highlights on our leaves and stems. So I'm going to start with this leaf in the corner, and I'm going to start at the tip. I'm just going to drag my brush down very loosely. Keep it light-handed. You don't want to press too hard because then you'll get harsh paint streaks. Just keep it nice and light. Okay, that's all I'm doing. I'm going to move to the stem, and I'm just, for the stem, going to draw a line with the light green. All right, I'm going to move on to this stem. I'm just painting a line of light green down one side of the stem. And then I'm going to add some of this to the leaves. Always just pick the top half of each leaf because that's where the light will be shining down on it. Okay, so that is pretty much it. I'm just going to do two more things if you want to be a little more artistic and challenge yourself. I'm going to go directly into the dark green, and I'm just going to add a third coat to just a little bit of each part of the stem and leaves just to create a shadow. So just like we did the top half of the leaves, we're going to do the bottom half, but I'm not going to do the entire half. I still want that green to show. So I'm just kind of going to do a dark line, dark solid line near the edge, just to darken that up a little bit. I'm going to skip the stems because they look okay to me. So that's it, guys. Thank you for watching. I hope it helped. Again, thank you so much for your purchase. Thank you for supporting Busy Bees during this uncertain time. I know it's crazy for you guys, it's crazy for us. So I'm just glad we're able to help each other get through this. And thank you again for watching.